Good evening. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees this November 14th, 2023 at 6:10 p.m. Here at the Justin Garza High School Lecture Hall. Just as a reminder to our community, if you'd like to join us in person, you'll join us here at the Justin Garza High School Lecture Hall. Otherwise, you can view us on both our YouTube channel at the Central Unified School District YouTube channel or the CMAC Educational channel. Plus, our public call-in number is 559-276-3150. With that, we call to the meeting to the order. Let the attendance show that all members are present. And do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Trustee Carrillo. We have a second by Trustee Cervantes. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Those abstaining, motion carries 7-0. We now move to our closed session, or our comments from the public on closed session items. I will ask Mr. Migrant to put some time for anyone wishing to comment on these items before we head out to closed session.
Setting 30 seconds.
Thank you.
Thirty seconds have passed, and we have no comments by phone at this time.
Thank you. So at this point, we will go ahead and move out to closed session. We will reconvene an open session at 7 p.m. and report out any of the final actions, if any, from closed session. Thank you.
Test. Hi, Samantha, I see you. Yes, this is the voice.
Testing, testing. I think I hear it out there. Yeah. Testing, testing, one, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Testing, testing, testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing, testing.
Assalamu alaikum, brevs, as we're going to ask if Senor Lazo come and share some of our community engagement information before we begin.
Good evening. Buenas noches. If you wish to address the board, please call 559-276-3150 or fill out a request form provided on the table near the entrance and submit it to the clerk of the board prior to the meeting. If you wish to speak on an item on the agenda, please do so when that item is called. If you wish to speak on an item not on the agenda, you may speak during the public comment section of the agenda. Si desea dirigirse a la mesa directiva, llame al número 559-276-3150 o complete un formulario de solicitud provisto en la mesa cerca de la entrada y preséntelo al secretario de la mesa directiva antes de la reunión. Se permitirán comentarios públicos relacionados con los temas de la agenda cuando se llame el tema. Los comentarios públicos sobre un tema que no está en la agenda se permitirán durante la sección de comentarios públicos de la agenda. The district welcomes other language speakers to the board meetings. Anyone planning to attend and needing an interpreter for a language other than Spanish should call 559-274-4700, extension 10150, by noon on the Friday preceding the board meeting or at least 48 hours in advance of the meeting so arrangements can be made for an interpreter. El distrito da la bienvenida a las personas que hablan otros idiomas a las reuniones de la mesa directiva. Cualquier persona que planifique asistir y necesite un intérprete para un idioma que no sea español, llame al 559-274-4700, extensión 10150, el viernes antes de la reunión y antes del mediodía o por lo menos 48 horas antes de la reunión para poder hacer los arreglos para la interpretación. Thank you. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. I see a number of new faces, so we're excited to have you join us here at our meeting at Garza, as well as possible new voices that wish to share their opinions. There will be an opportunity for those items not on the agenda when we come to comments from public. If you'd like to address us, there is a place in the back where you can sign out a card, and then Gilbert, if you can wave, we'll be taking those. And we will make sure to have an opportunity to listen to everyone that would like to address us this evening. We'll have a series of presentations from both students, staff, as well as our employee association groups. So we first turn to our first presentation of the evening, our school activities presentation, Dr. Boatwright.
Thank you so much. So our first student here tonight is Ravneet Kaur, and she is our student body president from Central High School.
Make sure you push, there's a button on the mic.
Thank you. Good morning, Board of Trustees. My name is Ravneet Kaur, and I'm the Associated Student Body President at Central High School. It is my honor to be standing here tonight to update you all on what has been happening at Central High School in these past few months. During the start of the school year, we welcomed many to our campus. Students settled in nicely and very quickly, as Central High School leadership hosted a welcome rally. Club Rush was a success on our campus, as many expanded their horizons to join clubs such as CSF, NAMI, FCCLA, SHSS, Esports Club, Interact, Photo Club, Spanish Club, etc. Homecoming was a success on our campus, as many got together in order to dress up for the theme Claw Fests, which celebrated music and different festivals. Our FFA program showed many animals at the Fresno Fair, and many students received awards and achieved many accomplishments, as well as our FFA program hosted their annual pumpkin patch for the elementary students. It was heartwarming to see little elementary students having an absolute blast at the pumpkin patch, which was grown on our own Central Acres. Red Ribbon Week / Safety Week on our campus was held from October 23rd to the 27th and was very successful. There were many people on campus who taught and reminded us of the dangers of bullying, suicide, domestic violence, drugs, and alcohol. Spanish Club celebrated El Día de los Muertos on campus as well, showcasing their culture and heritage to others. Pirate Week was hosted by FFA last week, as many dressed up for the dress-up days and participated in FFA activities, which also involved an FFA-wide Capture the Flag. Central's football team have been fun to watch as they made it to the third round of playoffs. This week on campus, the Sikh Honors and Service Society is celebrating Sikh Heritage Week. There will be tabling tomorrow during lunch, informing others about the Sikh heritage, as well as many students will be dressing up. Winter sports are beginning to start, and many athletes are excited for the new season. Central High School leadership is preparing for the annual Holiday Joy Food Drive campaign and Toys for Tots. This week, our winter formal theme was decided by the student body. Winter formal theme is A Night in New York, which will be held on December 9th at Lifebridge Church. Thank you so much for listening, and have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you, Ravneet. Next, we asked Angelina Donkai from Pershing to come and join us.
Hello? Is it working? Good evening. My name is Angelina Donkai. I'm a senior at Pershing and the ASB FFA secretary. Currently, we are off to a great start at Pershing. Pershing Ag Facilities class got 3rd place in the landscape display at the Big Fresno Fair. We participated in Red Ribbon Week. We supported it with dress-up days, and if we dressed up, we got participation prizes. FFA officers participated in the Biola Raisin Day Parade. We had 36 members attend our FFA meeting on Halloween, and we had games to play for candy and for candy prizes. Our seasons for volleyball and football are over, and unfortunately, we didn't win any championships, but we had fun. 30 boys got to go to the Men of Color Career Expo at the Chaffee Zoo. In our Mount Olympus competition through the Fresno Elks Lodge, Isaiah Valenzuela got 1st place, Hermione Pudra got 2nd place, and I got 3rd. We all did really well. Students who participated in the Scout Island leadership training got extra credit in class for facing their fears. We had our model continuation school visit, and we are being recommended to be a model school. Our Pershing FFA chapter is going to the West Fresno Madera High School opening closing ceremony contest tomorrow. Please wish us luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Angelina. Next, we turn it to Gilbert Magallon to share with us part of our alumni recognitions.
Yes, so this week's honoree is Central East High School class of 2016, Cameron Ferrara, who's walking up here to the podium. The person who nominated Cameron says, as a former foster youth and Central Unified alumni, Cameron actively contributes to Central Unified's mission to embrace diversity, ensure academic success, and empower tomorrow's leaders. Cameron shares the belief in equity and access. He currently works at the Troy Center as a mentor to students, including Central Unified students. He also influences students through his role as a cultural arts Rotarian, which helps develop high school age students and administers scholarship opportunities to support student success. Thank you, Cameron, for your continued service to our community and commitment to our youth. Let's give Mr. Ferraro a round of applause.
Thank you and good evening to everybody. My name is Cameron, and I am just so genuinely happy. This recognition is something I will treasure eternally. I certainly didn't expect the phone call I received last week, and I'm just, very grateful to the many people that have been involved in Central Unified, the staff, the mentors that have been involved in Rotary, the clubs I've participated in with Interact. Their experiences that have given me the fundamentals and the tools that I found right here in this district to be who I am today. And so I'm just so amazed to see how this district has grown. I'm so glad I've been a part of it, and the work is not done. Thank you.
Can we get another round of applause for Cameron? And just a reminder to our entire community, we're always taking nominations, those in memoriam or those that are graduates. You can go to our Central Unified website, look at the Board of Trustees area, and you'll see a nomination form where you could fill out. So if there's a special Central Unified graduate in your life and you'd like to see them recognized, please make sure you take some time out and write a little application for them. Thank you. Next, we invite up our Employee Association to hear about our Employee Association highlights. Can I ask Laura Bolton from the Central Unified Teachers Association to join us?
All right, good evening. Thank you so much for everyone who came out to support CUDA and our bargaining priorities. I appreciate all of you coming out and making the time, because we know it's hard on a Tuesday night to be here this late. I have some things I want to share, positives that were shared with us during our last site rep meeting. But before I do, I just want to encourage the board once again to consider the bargaining priorities that we have set forth, that we've proposed, especially with the salary increase that we're asking for and health insurance improvements that we're asking for. The budget more than supports that with the 8.9% increase in LCFF funding and also the 8.22% in COLA that is guaranteed from the state. So we had a number of really important and interesting things that happened over the past few weeks that were shared with us at our last meeting. Sort of some was shared by the students, the high school students, but I want to highlight for the Dia de los Muertos celebration at Rio Vista, our certificated librarian, Megan Turner, arranged a really amazing collaborative day. Actually, probably was more than a day, because this was a lot of stuff. So there was home ec doing sugar skulls. There was the Spanish class doing ofrendas, the music class playing guitar, and then Central East sent folklorical dancers to participate in the events. So a really big, overlapping collaboration happened. Roosevelt Elementary talked about their Red Ribbon Week. They had a lip sync battle, and they said it was really a lot of fun, that the kids and teachers really got into it. And they're expressing that the morale in general at the site is really high. So I wanted to share that with you. There was a Lego Robotics regional tournament recently, and 3 of our schools, at least that were reported to me, were recognized. So Liddell won the project award, Harvest won best robot design, and Central Elementary was also recognized. And then finally, Steinbeck has a little library that's been set up on their campus. If you don't know little libraries, they're literally what it sounds like. They're little libraries that people donate books, and anyone can come and take something and put in donations. But they've got one set up on the campus for the community, so it's on the outside of the campus for anyone to come. So go check it out. I heard it's really cute. It's Dr. Seuss themed. So thank you very much.
I'll ask if Angie Aguirre from our CSEA, oh, there she is.
A little shorter. Good evening, board members and cabinet members and Superintendent Ketty Davis. Here speaking on behalf of classified staff. We have the utmost respect for our school board and district administrators. We have a good working relationship with all of them. We're here today as a collective group to receive the same respect. We're asking for a fair and equitable contract, which includes a wage increase that reflects the COLA you received and the inflation we have to deal with on a regular basis, day in and day out. And on a positive note, on our job study, we received everything from HR, and we will start meeting with our members the week after Thanksgiving. So hopefully we can start meeting with them and starting that process to get those job studies changed. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Geary and Ms. Bolton. Next, we turn to our school highlights. And if we could invite Madison Elementary's principal, Jackie Oliver, to join us and share us what's happening at Madison.
Try it again with the button pushed. Good morning, good evening, President Singh, members of the board and Superintendent, Ms. Davis. I am so excited to be the principal of Madison Elementary. I must say it is the best school in California, but we have so many great things going on at Madison, and I'd like to just tell you about a few of them. Well, this year our theme is Around the World in 180 Days. We chose this theme for several reasons. Not only do we want students to understand that growing up and becoming educated in America is not just about our country here. We need to know about people all over the world. As a travel bum myself, I love to travel all over the world, and I look forward to every opportunity I can to do that. And our teachers do too. And so we want to share that knowledge with the students and have them learn about different children, different people, sports, food, and the entertainment around the world. Our students so far have loved this theme, so have our teachers. And so we are having the opportunity to tie it into science, math, language arts, and even our social emotional learning. Students do like to talk about the cultures around the world that they are familiar with or a part of. And we're blessed here in Fresno to have many students with many different experiences that they can share out with us. This year we are doing a multicultural family literacy night, and some of the countries that we have visited and supported so far this year are first I have to say the Arctic and Antarctica are actually were the first areas that we studied this year, but we also have Australia, South America, and we have tied our literacy books. You'll see a family at the bottom of that screen working on Family Literacy Night, and it's been a great joy. Now, some of our celebrations we have had 17 of our 77 EL students last year were reclassified, and I'm happy to say that when you look at that data, some of our students were from the upper grades, which means they may have had 4 or even 5 years or maybe even 6 years of being EL students. So I'm really happy that we've had such success in redesignating 15 of our students, which were 3rd grade and up. Wins, our students love sports, and we really did well last year with the girls volleyball, cross country, and basketball championships for the league. And also our Odyssey of the Mind group received 5th place in the state, which was pretty impressive. We also have had some growth with our SBAC scores with our math and ELA. They have gone up. We've had some band jumpers amongst our students, and you can see the statistics up there. It was very exciting to give out the bands that the district provided for our students, and it was really nice to be able to celebrate them in that way. Thank you very much. I think it was a very nice touch this year for the students. We have done a great job, I feel like, with our suspension rate. We were only at 2% in the 22-23 year, and I think some of that is the result of some of the work the board has done in getting us a full-time counselor, and we also have a thinkery at our school, and we've been able to use these supports to help students every day in the classroom, and we really appreciate the liaisons that were also a big help to having those full-time. I'm super happy about our panorama survey scores, our highlights overall. We are very happy at Madison, and you can tell by our data. Looking at our staff leadership relationships, 88% of our staff feel happy with the leadership at Madison. And it's not hard to be happy at Madison because we have so many people working for all with the same common goal, which is to help the kids, help the families. Staff at Madison stay for decades, and when you go around and you look at some of our teachers, they have been there for a long time, and there's a reason for it because we're like a family out there, and I think that that shows in our Panorama survey scores. Families feel engaged. They feel like they're part of a group of people that care about their kids. And our student-teacher relationships were at 65%. When I was looking at that data, I thought, how come it's not 100? But looking at it a little closer, I saw some areas that made me really proud. One of them I can remember offhand, where 80% of the students felt more than just average, that their teacher would really care if they came into the classroom upset. They were not 80%, it was another 11% when you looked at the would be slightly concerned. So I thought that those statistics were great. Some of our challenges, well, you know, we're still struggling a little bit with Fontes and Pinnell. Our students have improved. They are on the way to becoming readers in the primary grades. And our upper grade readers, they're showing growth in proficiency as well. But of course, no one would be happy without 100% of reading on grade level. So we work hard to continue that. And this year we have teaching fellows in all of our classrooms. Unless it's a K-1 class, then we have aides, district aides in those classes. We also have reading pull-out support. We have math support this year. And we are all working together with a common goal of having readers on our campus. We also are working on our math goals with SBAC. I want to thank the foundation. Last year we were the recipient of 4 grants, well, 4 grade levels of grants. We had 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade grants for our math t-shirts. Now on those t-shirts, what we had was, you know, we had a new logo last year, and so it was so exciting to be able to have a brand new shirt for our students, something they earned. They had a nice new logo on the front, and on the back of the t-shirt, it said something positive about, like, you can't divide us. If it was for our 4th graders who have reached their math fluency facts for 4th grade division. We had one for addition. It all adds up, and then that was our 1st grade theme for addition. Something really cute, you can't take it away from me, with 2nd grade with our subtraction. And these were for students who mastered their math facts. Super excited about those. Not only did it bring nice clothing to our students, it really was a positive atmosphere. There was no, this shirt is for sale. We'll earn this shirt and we'll proudly wear it. And I still see the kids this year wearing them from last year. We have been participating in the PC33 Primary Math Partnership. That gives us the opportunity to bring up some more hands-on skills that our students can help in the classroom with. Now, last year, we had, it sounds like a lot, 50% of our teachers participating in the math PC33. And this year, we are incorporating the rest of our team to get us up to 100%. Now, the second group, the other 50%, aren't quite as far as the first group is in the program, but you know what? It's really showing growth, and the teachers are very excited to take that time to do that. This year, we're working on absenteeism. We are an overflow school, and we do have a little bit of struggles on that. I'm not going to make that as an excuse, because you know what? We need every classroom to have students that are here every day. A couple of the things that we have employed this year is something called Everyday Counts. Now, Madison has had an Everyday Accounts award for students for several years now, but this year we're adding a new component in it, and the best thing about it is it's free. We have students that arrive to school every day, whether they're late, whether they need to leave early, or, you know, something. They have an appointment midday and they come back. If you are at school every day of the month, you get an extra recess at the first work day of the month. And that helps students be encouraged to come to school every day, because every day counts. Something else I want to share with you is, I have to get it back up on my phone, this week on my Parent Square, I have been sending out math tips for the families, but this week I also sent out a really cool paper that talked about the facts. Now, of course, I can't find it right now on my phone. It was up there, but anyway, it talked about did you know that if you were missing just 2 days a month at school, you'll miss a whole year of school by the time you're in 12th grade? Did you know that if you're missing just 2 days a month, you're going to lose 30 hours of math and 60 hours of ELA time? When you look at those numbers, it really makes sense, and I want to have those relationships with parents where I can talk and share that data, because we're all really wanting the best for our students. And so those are some of the challenges that we're having this year with chronic absenteeism, and those are a couple of the solutions and things that we're doing to work with Madison staff and students and families to get them here at Madison. Thank you very much.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Just want to make a couple of comments. Thank you for your efforts. Look forward to your continued support and hearing more about the academic achievement of your students, our students. Thank you.
I have honestly, a Principal Oliver, just a lot of appreciation just to see the particular growth, and it can be a challenge, especially being kind of an overflow school. I think I would probably just have more of a question for the executive administration. I know we had very high numbers at Madison, and it seems to have leveled off since like 2018, 2019. Was that like pre-COVID? Was that sort of just a general trend, or did we pulse from another school to get our numbers a little bit more, even around 500 at Madison?
Presidency, are you referring to the student population?
Correct.
Yeah, I think since we opened Tilly,
that makes sense.
The numbers at Madison balanced.
That makes sense. Thank you so much. Thank you so much again, Principal Oliver. Next, Next, if we can invite up Principal Cano to come share with us about McKinley Elementary School.
Good evening, President Singh, members of the board, and Superintendent Davis. I am Dr. Marilu Cano, the new principal of McKinley Elementary, and it's an honor to be present with you today and give you the report on McKinley Elementary School. Let me see if this works. Oh, okay. So when I first came to the site, I know we're doing a lot of sports on the first day. So I was kind of intrigued. How do we do it here in McKinley with having so many sports on the first day? But I want to report out that it was a huge success. Everything went smoothly, which for me being new, it was interesting to see. So everything went well. We had several sports going on at the same time, and the kids had fun. The parents were there. We had really good already built-in systems to support our families that were coming in from other sites. Oops, let me go back. Oh, thank you. Okay, technology. So, celebrations. So our celebrations is that we are working very hard on our attendance. This is one of the things that McKinley Elementary is working on right now as we speak. So what I'm showing to you is the attendance and comparing the data from August 22-23 to August 23-24. So last year in August, we had 92.8% attendance. In August of this year, we had 95.3% attendance. So the attendance was a lot better. For September 22-23, 92.3%. For September 23-24, our attendance went up to 94.3%. And then in October, last year was 92.5, and this year is 94.7. Also, the star reading growth For the fall, 22-23 was 61.8%. So 262 students of 424 students were reading at grade level. Fall of 23-24, which is this year, we are now at 69.5%, which means that 269 students out of 420 students that took the test are reading at grade level. For 22-23, which is the data that I had at the time I could put this together, our LPAC proficiency scores were 58.2%, scored 3 or above. That means 64 out of 110 students were at 3 or above. Our progress right now is that we do monthly attendance challenge, which is the fewest absences and tardies. So this is something that was initiated by our vice principal, Mrs. Mullen, and is working great. The kiddos that every classroom that has the best attendance per grade level gets a treat. Last month we did popcorn. For November we're going to do cocoa and marshmallows. Another thing for us at McKinley is the family liaison. So thank you for giving us a full-time family liaison. Ms. Andrisani is working very, very well with her families. So she is working in collaboration with our vice principal and our attendance clerk so we can make sure to support our students. So the message that at McKinley we're sending to our families is we're here to support you. We want to know what are the barriers as to why is your student late or why is your student tardy. We're not coming to school. So she's meeting with the parents. We're doing home visits to make sure that we support our families. Because again, our clear message is how can we support you so our kiddos can be to school, come to school on time. Also, our reading lab, Ms. Plumley and Ms. Dollywall are doing a great job. They're supporting our kiddos. They're making sure that they're targeting our kiddos in reading so they can improve their reading. Also, and thank you for our EL teacher, Ms. Carlon. She's doing a wonderful job with EL, supporting our teachers, guiding our teachers, providing our teachers training on designated and integrated EL, and that's working great. We also have the SST process at the district level, so we're participating in creating that SST process in collaboration with the district so we can have better systems in place to support our students, guided reading for our teachers. So we have that, and that way, as time evolves and as we support our teachers and our students, we have less students that are special ed. So that is the key with the SST. The things that we are doing moving forward was we are creating incentives for our students that are coming in more often, that are not tardy, that are not absent. Another thing that we're going to be doing more of is student recognition. As a site administrator, I also want to give parents time to celebrate the students' successes. So I'm going to be having events after school. I usually do them at 6 o'clock because I know majority of our families, that is a better time for them to be able to participate. So we're going to be doing student recognitions to celebrate our students' success, which is very, very important. Moving forward, we are also going to be doing quarterly assemblies, again, to celebrate the student success, and all this is going to be taking place from 6 o'clock on. I'm also holding parent engagements because we want the community to know that we're here to support them. I want to hear what is the need of the community and what is going on, because we're really working very hard on uniting the community. And this is an example of what we did for the month of October. So those are the October winning classes, attendance challenges. So as you can see there, we have 90s in the 90% for the month of October. School-wide, we were 95% attendance daily average. So we're also, as Madison is doing it, we're doing the attendance matters all day, every day. So we're sending a clear message to our families. This is important for your student. And again, another piece that we have, thanks to our family liaison, is supporting your family. Like, what is going on? How can we support you? What is it that you need the support with to make sure your student is here at school every day? Am I pointing right? Oh, there you go. The challenges for McKinley. So our challenges are that on the SBAC data, we are 31.1% met or exceeded expectations. For me as an administrator, I need to know numbers more than percentages. So that means that 129 out of 415 students that took the ELA SBAC test met or exceeded expectations. For the math, it was 24.8%, which means 103 students of the 450 students that took the test met or exceeded expectations. The iReady data shows that in ELA, 14.2% of our students are reading at grade level, which means 86 of 606. Math, 7.5, which means 45 out of 604 students. So as an incoming principal, I know there's a lot of work to be done. And moving forward, I do have plans to work, and we're already rolling this out, to utilize the resources that we have. Our math tutor that we have, our reading lab, EL teacher, Thinkery, and also start working with the teachers in the sense that during our PDs with the principal, we're going to be dividing the teachers where Mrs. Mullen, the vice principal, will be working with K2 and taking a deeper dive into the data and what systems do we need to put in place to support our kiddos in reading and writing. So there's going to be a collaboration, not just with us guiding the teachers, but a collaboration with our teachers in providing support. Then I will be working with 3rd through 6th grade and looking at the data, looking at the SBAC. What are the students seeing and how are they tested on? And also letting the teachers know that we are going to support them every step of the way. We're going to be hand in hand working with them because our long-term goal is to support our students. And we are going to be a data-driven school. And again, the more important thing for my staff is to let them know, and I already let them know that I am there to support them. So we're going to do this as a team together. So moving forward, like I say, we're going to be a data-driven school. We are also going to be doing data checks, which means that teachers are going to be with me once a month, where for 30 minutes we look at the data according to their classroom. So I show them the data per grade level, but we're going to visit the data per the classroom and talk about this is going on, how can I support you, giving them feedback, giving them guidance as to how can we support our students to move forward, which is our long-term goal. I also am talking about with the team and offering paid after school to take a deep dive into the data and priority standards. So the key is going to be talk about the data, analyze the data during the principal's PD, and if needed, the added support will be done after school as well, and giving, paying our teachers, compensating our teachers. So teachers know they're not going to do this by themselves. I'm there to support them, as well as our vice principal. Spotlight. So I'm very happy to report that we have been able to increase parent engagement. I have a second cup of coffee in the mornings. So in the mornings, once a month, we do the second cup of coffee. That is where I tell our parents the wonderful things that we're doing at McKinley, and also getting their feedback, concerns, something that, they have a concern about, ideas that they might have. Also, our school site council is up and running. We have a lot of support. We have 5 parents that are part of, so I'm very excited. We have 3 teachers, so we have that going on. We also have our ELAC meeting strong and going well. And we have Success Together workshops. As time evolves, it's getting stronger. We're getting more parents because we're making a lot of noise. We're advertising. We're sending notices to parents. We're putting on Parent Square. We're creating flyers. So I am very, very happy to see the Success Together workshops because they are very important to our families. And I see that families are coming in. They're having fun and they're enjoying what they're doing. So I'm very happy to see our numbers are starting to grow. Also, our parent volunteers, the number of our parent volunteers is increasing. We have more parents volunteering to attend field trips, to be part of our community. And the biggest event we had so far is the Trunk or Treat. We did a guesstimated with PTA. The other day we had a PTA meeting. We guesstimated that we had about 350 parents and students, families come to our Trunk or Treat. So I was very, very happy to see that. A lot of parents came out. A lot of the kiddos came out. It was a great success. And the support systems, like I had mentioned before, the support systems we have in place is our family liaison. She is doing a wonderful, wonderful job reaching out to our families, supporting our families, and also our EL teacher. She's doing an amazing job supporting our teachers and really helping and sending that clear message that we are here to support our families in any way, any form that we can. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Questions or comments from the board? Trustee Carrillo?
Just a couple comments. I'm excited about all of the information that you've provided and your recognition, Principal Cano, of the fact that we need to increase those areas and those test scores that don't look very good, which really reflect a large number of our students. So thank you for recognizing that, and thank you for all your efforts. I look forward to hearing about future reports and how all of your efforts in increasing community participation and ensuring that teachers and your administration also understand the data, and that's used effectively to improve our learning systems for our students. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions?
More just a comment, Principal Cano. I just see in McKinley you have three things that are, these components are critical for success. You have courage, you're communicating with the community, and you're having consistency. Where we're seeing statewide, but also in our district, chronic absenteeism, to see the numbers that you have really focused to make sure if the students are in their seats, they're more likely to learn. So I really want to commend you and your team for making that such a focus. You're communicating, you're listening to your families, your students, you're really utilizing our community liaisons, and that's the tools we want. And honestly, you had the courage to even put your scores there to show how data-driven you are. Sometimes we only see growth, but to actually be able to put the scores there, that says something about you and your leadership. Really want to appreciate the courage that it takes to do that, and I'm very excited. And just as you said to your team that you have their back, whether as an administration and definitely as the board, we want to support you and let you know that we have your back.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, seeing quite a few speakers in the audience, is there any way we can move item K to the top of the agenda so they can have the time they need?
Is there any question or comment from any of the board members?
No, that would be fine. I think we have a lot of public comments.
So then, at this time, we're going to invite, I think Gilbert will be sharing with Clerk Kerfan. Just a reminder for the community, you will have 3 minutes to address the board on any topic. We may not be able to respond to you, so I want to say that in advance. We're here to listen. Depending on your specific request or your specific comment, we may not be able to respond this tonight, but our board is, our administration is absolutely devoted to make sure to follow up with each one of you as they can. So with that, I turn it over to Clerk Kerfan.
Thank you, President Singh. Our first comment is from Hector Caballero. Is Hector Caballero with us?
Hector may have had to leave. Yeah.
All right. Moving on, our next comment would be Alfonso Jimenez.
And President Chan, can I request that we call the second name since we do have two podiums so we can...
Actually, if you did put a comment, if I can ask you maybe even to start moving towards the podiums, and that way we can make sure we can have opportunity to hear from everyone.
And Mr. Jimenez, you'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Alfonso Jimenez, and I represent the Central World Language Department of the Central East High School. On behalf of our department, we strongly advocate for introducing a year-long high school Spanish 1 class, specifically in the 8th grade instead of the 7th grade, to establish continuity and emphasize the significant benefits it would offer our program at the high school level. Additionally, we propose enhancing the rigor of Spanish 1 at the junior high to better prepare students for transitioning to Spanish 2 once they get to the high school. This requires a more unified curriculum, collaboration between the junior high and high school Spanish teachers. Thank you for your attention and consideration.
Thank you, Maestro. Trustee Kerfon?
Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. Our next comment is from Actioneer Carr. I apologize if I mispronounced your name.
Okay. Good evening, board members. My name is Akshni Kaur, and I'm a junior at Justin Garza High School. I am here tonight with my fellow student body to talk about our lunch A and B setup. I speak for the majority of the student body when I say that we disagree with this orientation. As a student who has been at this school since the day it has opened, I can say that the A and B system has completely disconnected us students from one another. This way of lunch has made our academic and social lives dreadful. Along with this, our campus and school spirit has been diminished as well. When it is up to the school clubs to set up tables and events, having a double lunch system makes it very difficult to have awareness or any outreach. The A and B lunch system is directly killing our school spirit because we cannot rally as a collective. School spirit requires to be unified, but here we are being separated from our own population. Lunchtime is the time for us to get a break from our classroom and stress, and be with our friends. But here we are being separated, and we are just forced to pass time until class starts. This only worsens the feeling students has towards schools. Countless times I have heard students saying they do not want to come to school anymore due to not being able to see their friends on a school day. A and B lunch is a direct cause of diminishing school and social spirit. With the removal of A and B lunch, we would see improvement in students' social and academic lives. This is what the student body firmly believes in. We hope you understand we do not find this equitable and take our words into consideration. Thank you for your time, and have a great evening.
Thank you. Our next comment is Raman Carr.
Good evening, board members. I'm here to talk about A and B lunch in Garza. My name is Raman Kaur, and I'm a junior. I have B lunch, and people like me in B lunch don't get enough time to ask questions and get help from teachers when every teacher is only available on Wednesdays. 45 minutes per week to get help from teachers and do other assignments is not enough. So I would really like if we students could get our normal lunch back to get any help we need. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next comment is from Harmon Carr.
Hello, board members. My name is Harmon, and I'm a junior at Garza. I wanted to discuss how A and B lunch has affected mine and other students' grades. Students cannot be going to multiple classes in one lunch. Students are trying to bring up their grades but cannot only go to one class per Wednesday. Students have AP classes and extracurricular activities and are not able to enjoy them. This has been making it harder for kids to enjoy school and lunch with their friends. If we have one lunch every day, students will be able to bring up their grades and not feel as stressed. I hope you guys can take this into consideration and change our lunches to one. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next comment is from Manpreet Kaur.
Good evening, board members. My name is Manpreet Kaur, and I'm the president of the Journalism Club here at Garza. The Guardian is the first ever student-led newspaper in the Central Unified School District. Our goals include creating a safe space for students to get involved in writing and the basics of journalism. But how can we reach these goals if just meeting up is a struggle? Wednesdays are the only days students are able to attend club meetings. According to ASB, clubs are required to hold a meeting once a month. Last time I checked, there's about 4 to 5 Wednesdays a month, which is not enough time for the numerous clubs we have on campus. Some may argue to hold meetings for both A and B lunches. However, most club advisors are teachers on campus, meaning they have class for either one of those lunches. Wednesdays are absolutely chaotic. Everyone is scrambling to get students at club meetings, tabling events, and office hours. There is a strong demand and supply, but just not enough time. It is a privilege to go to a school with a large population. But what is the point of this large population if we're not listening to it? Hear our voices and please make a change. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next comment is from Harnor Kang.
Hello everyone, my name is Harnor Kang. I am a senior and a student athlete here at Justin Garza. I am here today to discuss the issues behind the A and B lunch schedule. One of the main issues that I've seen with the schedule is any of the school-related activities. I've noticed that we would always have to separate any school activity or any school event. For example, we have had the SOCA staff event, and to me, it felt it was very bland and it lacked character during B lunch compared to A lunch. This which results in a lack of energy or the involvement from the students because most are not with their friends, which can impact the campus culture. This schedule also is quite difficult for our first ever graduating seniors. We even had teachers and the activities director discouraging us from using our voice, saying that our efforts won't create any change. We are only advocating for ourselves. We are only just practicing our stand principles. We are standing for more, thinking of our peers, acting responsibly by coming to the board, and not giving up on what we need and demonstrating leadership, all which JGHS has taught us since we have opened. If you can't stand to abide by our school principles, then how do you expect the student body to? Thank you.
Thank you. Our next comment is from Sharanjit Kaur.
Good evening, board members. My name is Sharon J. Carr. I am a senior at Justin Garza High School, and I'd like to add on to the issue regarding A and B lunches. I want to touch on the mental and social issues that have risen recently because of separate lunches. Friend groups are being split up. I've seen people walking alone during lunch, not by choice, but because all their friends have a different lunch than them. Now, that may not sound like a big thing, but it becomes one when you think of the social anxiety one would get walking past groups of friends alone, getting into your head, thinking about how pathetic you must look. That takes a toll on mental health because people, especially kids and teenagers, need social relationships. School should not just be about education, and sometimes we need to sacrifice efficiency for mental and emotional health. A big part of the high school experiences is the people you meet and the friends you make, but how can we possibly do that when we're separated from the possibilities of people that can make a big difference on our lives long after high school? We'd really like you to consider the students' voices rather than the faculty's opinions. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next comment is from Vanshdeep Sahoda.
Good evening, board members. I'm Vanshdeep Kaur. I'm a junior at Justin Garza High School. I'm here to talk about concerns of having A and B lunch at our campus. I believe that having A and B lunch can ruin people's mental health with their friends being split up and not having anyone to spend time with. So I think there should be just one lunch altogether. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next comment is from Savpreet Atwal.
Good evening, board members. I just wanted to address the difficulties of A and B lunch specifically towards student athletes. As student athletes here at Justin Garza, we're constantly told that we are a student before we are an athlete and that we are held to a higher responsibility, which I completely understand. But because of that, we usually end up leaving class early 1 to 3 times a week for games and meets. Having 1 day a week to make up for the time that we've lost is extremely difficult. We're asking to be back to one lunch schedule because we have tests to make up and quizzes to retake, meet with teachers and relearn things that we weren't there for, and having only one lunch where students are out with club activities and other teachers are having to host club activities, it's hard for us to make up that work. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next comment is from Allison Truckee.
Good evening. My name is Allison Truckee, and I'm the president of Stand for More Baseball Boosters here at Justin Garza High School. In the beginning, we know that our coach is no longer, and we have are still dealing with that. But we are joining together and know that there'll be interviews, this coming Friday. But what we really wanted was, we want what we were promised regarding to the field completion, the confirmation that the sod would be laid this week for phase 1 to be completed, which included the field, dugouts, and the lighting. And then we wanted to follow up to make sure that practice locations for the team right now is at Glacier, and that they remain at Glacier, but also that our JV boys have a field to practice on, because there's only one field that we're allowed to use right now. And then also regarding the new coach, if it's possible for us to have that in place before Thanksgiving, because not only are our boys behind, well, they're very behind, and it would be best to get a coach as soon as possible. So we were hoping before Thanksgiving, if that is okay, so that we could get some time back. And if you could just keep us involved with everything, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Truckee. Our next comment is from Prabnor Jandu.
Hello, members of the board. My name is Prabnor Jandu. Something I've noticed as a result of the A and B lunch is that clubs are meeting exclusively on Wednesdays because of the shared lunch. Students who are separated from their friends are forced to choose between seeing their friends once a week or being involved on campus. Furthermore, multiple clubs are meeting on Wednesdays, making it nearly impossible to be involved in multiple clubs simultaneously. This should not be the case, as students should not be forced to choose between a social life and campus involvement. Please consider changing this lunch schedule next semester for the betterment of our guardians. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next comment is from Clayton Armistead. Is Clayton with us? All right. Next would be Shyla Adams.
Good evening, board. My name is Shyla Adams, and I will pretty much be going a little bit towards of what the students have been promoting towards A and B lunch. So I know on May 11th of 2023, which was my junior year of high school, I emailed the board members about some of the issues that A and B lunch may have due to education, and it seemed as safety was actually put over the factors of education, and how A lunch actually has more of the leadway because A lunch has access to core classes, as for B lunch only has access to electives, which is not very good. And because on Wednesdays that is not enough for everybody to actually get the education that they need, especially as some of our sports players have stated. Also, even though safety is a very legitimate concern, we do have Wednesdays as we are all on one lunch, and we actually been doing pretty great on that as well. And I have seen that throughout the week that a lot of admin are outside about approximately 2 hours being an A and B lunch, when I feel it can be very more imperative if they are actually, no offense, but doing the jobs that they are required to do, because they're not trained to morally be the liaisons, which I feel would be great for safety reasons if we actually hire liaisons for people who are professionally hired to do such things. And also our intervention specialists are outside as well during both lunches, which I feel isn't good, which is why we also need more liaisons here on campus. Also, during class time with the restrooms, I want to bring that up as well. We are closed between the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes of class. One idea I would like to bring towards the table is that the restrooms are actually open during the first 10 minutes and end of the 10 minutes because of we've had some cases of individuals smoking in the restrooms. If we allow the main class time to be where students go use the restroom, that actually gives them more time to actually be smoking and partaking in those kind of activities during actual class time within the first 10 minutes and beginning of classroom. That allows them for us to actually use our liaison and things actually being more controlled during the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes, because everything will be structured and in that manner. And as I've stated, of May 11th of 2023, I did email the board members about these concerns about A and B lunch. And also, I had a meeting with my principal and one of the board members on the day of May 26th, approximately at 2:00 p.m., about the concerns that A and B lunch may have. And as of this year, of September 7th, 2023, another fellow guardian has sat there and made some of their complaints, but not also their complaints, but their concerns and solutions of how we can figure out and solve, this A and B lunch. So yes, I understand that us as guardians are coming together and standing for more, but I hope that the resolution that I'm also bringing at hand allows the board to stand for more as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Board President Singh, I have no other comments at this time.
Thank you for all the community leaders for sharing. Then we move on to our reports. We will receive information about Central Unified School District Migrant Education Program from Annette Grigsby.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Davis, and President Singh. It's our pleasure to bring to you, upon your request, based on your request, September 26th, the additional information and reporting on our migrant program for Central Unified School District. As you know, migrant education is a national program, and it's specifically designed to provide supplemental services for the students and children of migrant families, specifically meant to address one of the most glaring problems that happen as they migrate with the crops, and that is the disruption of schooling. So having said that, there's no financial impact. This is for information only by your request, and it's my pleasure now to introduce to you Ms. Cindy Escondon, who is our supervisor for English learner and migrant programs here at Central Unified.
Good evening, Board President Singh, Superintendent Davis, and Board of Trustees. I am honored to present an in-depth overview of the goals of our migrant program, how our initiatives are fostering a positive impact on our migrant student data, and the services and programs we'll provide to our migrant students and their families. Our department is dedicated to providing support services to empower and uplift our migrant families. And we do this by maximizing our funding to offer educational services to enhance and complement existing school supports within our district. We are honored to serve 67 families and 119 students, each of whom contributes to enriching the diversity of our district community. This slide provides a comprehensive overview of the demographics of our migrant student population. At nearly every school site, we observe a representation of our migrant community. Now, let us examine a comparison of last year's data with the preceding year. It's essential to recognize that our district-wide initiatives are positively impacting the achievement of our migrant students. While acknowledging that there's still much work ahead, I'm confident that we're moving in the right direction. This year, as part of our ongoing commitment, we will be implementing diverse programs to address the instructional needs of our migrant students. Our offerings include an after-school intervention program focused on English language acquisition and enhancing literacy skills for our elementary students. For middle school students, there's a program designed to support academics and foster community leadership skills. Additionally, we've implemented a comprehensive credit recovery program for high school students, incorporating academic counseling, college awareness, and career exploration. Our final program is a health and wellness education program spanning kindergarten through 12th grade, addressing physical, mental, and social emotional aspects of health. Furthermore, in the spring, we're hosting a parent conference at Wonder Valley dedicated to equipping our parents with valuable tools to support their children's needs. In conclusion, our commitment is unwavering as we strive to deliver excellent services to empower and support our migrant students and their families. I would like to express my sincere appreciation for the invaluable support provided by our Director of State and Federal Funds, Annette Grisby, along with our dedicated family outreach liaisons, our administrative assistant, Martha Pagan, EL academic coach, Tammy Kinnunen, the support of the Fresno County Migrant Program, Victoria Soto, Cristina Martinez, management of T Community Center, Teresa Martinez, district leadership, and our exceptional teaching and classified support staff. It's through their collective contributions that we're creating a positive impact on the lives of our migrant students and their families. Should you have any questions or require further information, please contact our department. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Questions or comments from the board? Trustee Correa?
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I'd like more information in depth about the specific program. So I know you mentioned, so I have a few questions actually. You identify, we currently have 119 students. How do we identify these students? And then if you can also talk about how are we working across all of our other programs and our staff specifically now that we have family community liaisons at each of our campuses to ensure that the programs that we currently offer and that you plan to offer are being shared and communicated effectively with all of the individuals that are assisting our students?
Well, one of the things that we're doing is upon registration, our family outreach liaisons, along with our registrars, are issuing a questionnaire, and based on the responses that we get, it leads us to follow up with having our family outreach liaison connect with county office to see if this family does meet the criteria of being considered eligible for migrant services. Once we determine that they are eligible for migrant services, they are immediately referred to our department, and then I reach out to those families and we invite them, along with the support from the county office as well. We have a support person, Cristina Martinez, who directly contacts the family, and we invite them to our family meetings. We ensure that they are receiving Parent Square updates or messages regarding any of the services or programs that we have. We also send flyers to school. We also make contact with the students at our high school with counselors. And so there are a variety of different ways that we are connecting with their families to ensure that they are accessing these programs.
Thank you. And then on your slide with respect to programs, if I heard you correctly, you mentioned that these are going to be implemented, so are any of these currently in practice?
Right now, we currently have our high school program running, which is our academic credit recovery program,
Okay.
as well as academic counseling. And our other programs will be launching this spring.
Thank you. And then it lists the budget as $115,200. I understand that Migrant Ed specifically receives special funding, as Ms. Grisby pointed out. We receive funds as to provide supplemental support. How much money do we actually receive from the county, and are we using that entire allocation? At least at a minimum last year, how much did we receive and how much did we use? Because if we don't use it, it's my understanding it gets returned back and reallocated.
So last year, we were allocated $115,200.
And did we use all of it?
We used the majority of the funds.
Okay. And so I'm assuming, without being disrespectful, the money that we didn't use, is there a reason why we returned money and we weren't working with any other partners to ensure that we're using the full 115,000? Because I know there's a need, and I know we have students that qualify for the support. So I'm just wondering why we didn't utilize all the funds.
So the majority of the funds were used, and those funds that were not used, well, there were some internal issues going on with fiscal, but you do know that you were well aware of the change in our fiscal department, and with those changes, some things were challenging to say the least. They were challenging to ensure that we made sure that those funds were being used. But here's what I can say to you, is that none of these services were disrupted at all. And we're going to continue to work towards ensuring that all of the funds are leveraged that are awarded to us from the county this year. And anytime that you have any other questions regarding funding, please do not hesitate to reach out to me.
I will, no worries on that point. Yeah, and I look forward to hearing that we are effectively using those funds. I do have some questions because you didn't touch upon the information with respect to graduation rates or what additional supports we provide. So I know you mentioned we do the Ingenuity Credit Recovery Program.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that there are provisions in the education code that allow for certain exceptions if students are determined to be able to meet and are proficient in certain areas. Do we categorize currently any students and provide them exemptions to allow them to graduate and waive? Okay, I see your head shaking.
Yes.
Do we have any numbers as to what that looks like, and in the future, can we ensure that we provide that information?
You know what, we can certainly look that up, and we can definitely get you those numbers.
Okay. The other thing I'd like to know as well, or ensure moving forward, that we're communicating that information to our family liaisons and our other partners that are working with migrant education students, so that our families are aware that for at least newcomers and migrant ed students, there are specific provisions in the ed code that provide for exemptions, which would help them receive that diploma, which is really a standard now in our community to be able to participate in any employment sector. So thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Cervantes?
I'd like to echo all her words. I think she nailed it, but I also want to thank you for your efforts. I see the change. I see a lot of motivation, and I look forward to the continued success to this department. And again, I just want to thank Board Member Carrillo, because I think she asked some very tough questions, and I think they were very, very worthy questions, and look forward to the continued success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Kirfan?
Thank you, President Singh. I agree with Trustee Cervantes' praise. I also want to expand on Trustee Carrillo's questions. How long have we had this program? Was it just the previous year or longer?
As long as I've been here, and that's almost 30 years.
Right. And financial issues from the previous year were referenced. In previous years, have we used all of our allocation for this funds, or just a majority beyond the past fiscal year?
Yeah.
So pre-pandemic, I can assure you that the funding was leveraged 99.9% completely. We did experience some issues with return to school after the pandemic. Obviously, the program struggled during school closure because of the nature of our migrant families. They tend to fly below the radar screen anyway, so it's hard to, it's not hard, it's more challenging to get them engaged, and it was doubly so with school closure. So as we re-engaged in that return to school year, we did not utilize all of the funds for that year for various reasons. There were staffing changes, there were folks that found that they were better placed in other areas. I can share with you that one of the ongoing struggles with migrant budget is that the county timelines for that federal program, their budget timelines do not align with our budget timelines. So if you miss a window for a budget revision, you're stuck. And so we strive always to meet those deadlines, but sometimes the communication, especially in return to school year, although it's not an excuse, it did happen. I can assure you no one went without services, though. We leveraged other categorical funds to meet those needs, and all of the services were implemented if, in fact, not all of the funding for that particular budget was used. We look at migrant funding. If you've got base funding as the cupcake, and then other categoricals like Title I or Title III or the frosting, Migrant is the sprinkle on the cupcake. So those kids that qualify on all those different levels get that extra layer. And so what we did in that fact, where we had missed some of those budget revision, it didn't happen for whatever reason, we leveraged funds from other areas where those kids did qualify. So they might have been migrant, but they were also English learners.
Thank you. And do we receive funding for this program specifically from the county, or do we also receive funding from the state?
No, it's not a state program. It's a federal program, and it's funded on the past, I think it's a formula of the past 3 years, but I can get their funding formula. And it varies according to how many families you've qualified. And then the eligibility expires at different levels. They have 3-year eligibility. So every year you have families dropping out and having to requalify new families.
Okay.
So it's kind of a moving target.
Thank you. And a majority of funding, are we looking at closer to 50% of that, 100%? How close are we getting to using all of our funds?
This year, we're going to use it all.
The previous year, where we mentioned
I think the worst we experienced during the pandemic was maybe a 70%, but I could get you exact numbers.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you. I just had a question. I think actually just on my way to the school board meeting, I had received a call from a parent, but it makes me think to actually ask directly about our migrant community, where they were just sharing that there weren't enough Chromebooks at their particular site. Has that been an issue with our migrant students?
We have separate Chromebooks that we have purchased with other categorical money, and we strive mightily to prioritize those families first with if the hotspot's not, some of our Chromebooks are older, so the hotspot's not built in. So we have a separate hotspot that we send with them. It has been less than perfect this fall, but we are really striving to prioritize and working very closely with Mr. Martinez and his crew, and then leveraging our family outreach liaisons to make those phone calls. We are sorting them, and we are prioritizing a migrant to English learner to low-income families, and striving to get those who need it the most, the technology first. On the backside, we're also working with school sites to make sure that if that kid doesn't have a device, he or she is not being penalized for not turning in their homework electronically, and that they're being provided hard copies.
I'll follow up with the other groups, but just at least at present, what percentage of our migrant students that require one don't have one yet? Would we have an estimate, or?
I can get that for you. I have a
Okay.
spreadsheet.
I'll
I just
follow up.
haven't
Thank
done
you.
the math.
Trustee Solis?
And just to piggyback on that item, I was recently at an ELAC meeting at one of our sites, and the information did not ring a bell to the parents. I'm sure the information was given out, but it wasn't brought to their attention. So at that particular site, the staff had to physically approach the parents to get a list of who needed the equipment and who didn't. Also, if we have equipment that is not functioning, I implore you to talk to administration. If it's just we need to put in a request for new equipment, then we need to do that. We can't do that unless you follow through with touching bases with administration saying you need more equipment. All right.
Clarifying question. On the ELAC meeting, were those parents of ELs that weren't getting the info, migrant or both?
Both.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we turn to our superintendent and board communications.
Ready for me? Okay. Good evening. I think Ms. Bolton talked about robotics, so I'm going to take that off my list for that celebration, but I do want to share a few things that have occurred recently. Justin Garza High School's marching band. I hope you heard word that they had a win again this weekend at the Western Band Association 2A Central Region Champions. This means that Garza's band has remained undefeated since it opened. Our cross-country students, please take a look at social media. You'll see some pictures of our runners that over the weekend competed in the Valley Cross Country Championship, and our Central Elementary girls team earned the title of Valley Champions for their class. This week, also, our 8th grade parent nights. This is a new feature. Parent nights are continuing to, throughout this week, I think there is, and the 15th at Glacier Point at 5:30 and the 16th at El Capitan at 5 p.m. These families are encouraged to attend to learn about high school options, programs, electives, get questions answered, and there's a collaboration going on between our new middle school academic counselors and administrative teams in high schools. I also left a flyer for you. Veterans Boulevard is opening. So on the 20th, we have been invited to be a part of a car parade through that, and just got word that they're willing to let our car be a school bus. So we will have one of the Central Unified School buses in the process. The ribbon cutting will be at 11 a.m. You're invited to attend if you would just let either myself or Gilbert know so we can make sure you know where to attend to. Please know you are invited. And this Friday, if you are interested and available between 8:30 and 11:30 at Inspiration Park, our special education department will be hosting a turkey trot, which is a pretty fun event for our students that you surely would enjoy. And just as a reminder, I think you all are aware, but also to our public, Thanksgiving break is next week. We hope everybody has a great week and understand that our schools are not in operation during the week, and our offices, for the most part, are, except for those days of Thanksgiving. So that's all for me.
Thank you. Any communications from our board? Trustee Carrillo.
I just want to express very briefly my disappointment to hear from one of our students during their public comments that they felt that one of our one of our Garza employees threatened them not to attend or provide public comment. That's really disappointing. And so for all of our students who participated today and who are listening, if ever you feel that any adult of our campus or our community is prohibiting you from speaking to our board or addressing any of your public elected officials, please feel free to contact us directly if you feel you can't report directly to your principal or to the superintendent or any of our administrators, because that's absolutely unacceptable. We're here to listen and to ask questions and provide policy and address procedures where we think collectively as a board or a majority there needs to be improvement. So I couldn't let that comment go unaddressed. And thank you to all of our community who came out and addressed us related to the Garza issues, both the baseball coach and the AM and the A and B lunches and the other issues expressed. So thank you.
Thank you. We next move on to our consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Trustee Solis. We have a second by Trustee Cervantes. Those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Those abstaining. Consent agenda motion carries 7-0. We turn to our action items. Our first item is to accept gifts to the district. Assistant Superintendent Iqbal.
Good evening. Attached is a list of gifts received by the district. Administration is requesting the board to accept gifts to the district. As a follow-up, the district will be sending thank you letter to all the donors for this support. Thank you. Thank you.
Questions or comments from the board?
I'll move to accept the gifts.
We have a motion by Trustee Carrillo. We have a second by Trustee Cervantes. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Those abstaining. Motion carries 7-0. Next, we move on to action item number 2, approve second addendum to Superintendent Employment Agreement. So I will read out the oral report before we make a motion. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I would like to report that Superintendent Davis received a satisfactory employment evaluation. The board desires to approve the superintendent with a 1-year extension. The employment agreement would be extended to June 30th, 2027. There are no other changes to the agreement dated May 10th, 2022, and the First Amendment dated November 14th, 2023. Compensation included in this contract includes salary of $220,757, step 1, and an auto allowance of $600 for district business. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by trustee Solis.
Second.
I have a second by trustee Sellers. Those approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Those abstaining? Motion carries 7-0. We move on to the approval of the renewal of the Advantech contract. Assistant Superintendent Iqbal.
Good evening again. This is a contract renewal for Advantech, who manages our self-funded insurance. They provide administrative and operational services for the district. So staff is asking the board to approve the renewal of the Advantech contract.
Questions or comments from the board? Trustee Solis.
For staff, I will be approving this item with the understanding, I'm approving it because of the short, we have a time frame that we have to deal with, but I will be looking for this item next year for the renewal, and I fully anticipate it's going to come to us sooner than what it did today. Thank you.
Noted.
Second.
We have a motion by trustee Cervantes. We have a second by trustee Solis. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Those abstaining? Motion carries 7-0. We move on to item number 4. Adopt resolution number 232419, continued funding application EED 3704, aligned with CSPP contract for 2024-2025 school year. Assistant Superintendent Boatwright.
Thank you. The California State Preschool Program resolution is brought to the board annually for approval. This approved resolution is required to continue to receive funding for our state preschool program. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Second.
We have a motion by trustee Cervantes. I heard a second by trustee Kerfan. Those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Those abstaining? Motion carries 7-0. Next, we move on to item number 5, approve metamorphosis speech therapy contract. Director Schaefer.
Good evening, President Singh, members of the board, and Superintendent Davis. Tonight, I have the contract for Metamorphosis Speech Therapy. This contract would include services for 1 speech-language pathologist 1 day a week and 1 speech-language pathologist assistant 4 days a week. These would all be in-person services and would help cover services for 3 of our speech-language pathologists that are on extended leave right now. Documentation is attached, and administration is recommending approval, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Trustees Locadio.
Just a couple of questions. So I understand you mentioned that this contract is needed in order to provide the services based on the absence that we have. I know we have at least 2 other contracts, maybe 1,
So
2.
we
So
have.
if you can just highlight why those 2 contracts are not sufficient or we can't use to provide the services necessary and
Sure.
why we need this contract.
So last year, we used 4 vendors to cover all of our speech-language pathologist vacancies that we had. This year going in, we were really fortunate and were fully staffed. The other vendors that we currently have did not have any speech-language pathologists available for us to contract with.
Thank you. If no one has any other questions, I'll
Yeah.
move to approve.
We have a motion by trustee Carrillo, a second by trustee Mayling. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Those abstaining? Motion carries 6-0 with trustee Cervantes absent. Next, we move on to item number 6, approve authorized signature and mailing permit. Assistant Superintendent Iqbal.
This approval will authorize the superintendent, CBO, and director of fiscal services to sign documents and receive all finance-related district mail. Staff is asking for approval.
Question or comment from the board? Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
We have a motion by trustee Carrillo,
Second.
second by trustee Sellers. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed, nay. Those abstaining? Motion carries 6-0 with trustee Cervantes absent. We move on to our information items. Our first item is to receive information regarding the nomination of trustee for CSBA Delegate Assembly, Superintendent Davis.
Thank you. Attached, you will see an invitation for any of you who might consider joining the delegate assembly. We do have one member, trustee Sellers, who is still active through March 2025, but solicitation is open now should anyone else be interested. We recommend this item come back to the December meeting for you to nominate any other individuals so we can meet the timeline.
Thank you. Next, we move to receive information regarding bond refinancing opportunity. Assistant Superintendent Iqbal.
So we have a presentation by our bond advisor, Mr. Mark Farrell, regarding the funding of 2014 GEO bond and how the district's taxpayer could receive some benefits in terms of lower taxes. After the presentation, staff is requesting that this item be placed in December 12th board agenda for action.
Good evening, President Singh, trustees, Superintendent Davis. It's a pleasure to be back in front of you and a pleasure to be here at Justin Garza tonight and see the results of some of the district's recent bond measures. So a little bit of background, and then we'll talk about the potential refinancing opportunity. So we're talking about the district's bonds. We often look at the assessed value. The district has continued to have very strong assessed value growth, over 8% the past 2 years. You can see over the past 20 years, assessed value has grown on average of a little over 6%. Looking at what's gone on in kind of the interest rate markets, and somehow the chart has got kind of scrunched here. We have seen interest rates come up from kind of the historic lows we had during the pandemic. They've actually been pretty volatile. If I could run this chart today versus about 2 weeks ago, interest rates have come down a good 0.25%, almost 0.5% from where they were just on Halloween. We'll kind of keep monitoring this as we kind of go forward and look at the potential opportunities for the district to refinance 2 series of bonds in 2024. So here we have the list of all of the different series of bonds that have been issued from measures K, B, C, and D. And so at the top, we have 2 series of bonds remaining from measure K. These bonds were actually refinanced previously in 2014. They're eligible to be refinanced again in 2024, and so very similar to refinancing a home mortgage. When interest rates allow, you can refinance, lower the interest rate, and lower the payments of the bonds, and pass those savings on to taxpayers. There's another series of bonds from Measure B, the Series C bonds, also potentially eligible to be refinanced in 24. As of right now, the way the interest rates are on that particular series of bonds, it's not economical, but we would keep an eye on that as we move forward. It's kind of a summary of the potential refinancing. So at current interest rates, interest rates on October 27th, when we ran this analysis, about $1.3 million of potential savings. There's currently about $24.3 million of bonds outstanding for these 2 series, the 2014 Series A and B refunding bonds. Right now, it's economical to refinance about $16.5 million of that total. The maturities range from 2025 to 2031, so relatively short period of time, only about 7 more years left of payments on those bonds. Estimated financing costs, $255,000. Those costs are paid for out of the refunding. So the savings that you see, $1.3 million to the community and to your taxpayers, that's net of that cost. There's no cost to the general fund. If for some reason the financing doesn't happen, there's no cost to the district. So interest rates would be reduced from around 5% to about 3.7%. And we can lock in those savings in April of 2024, and we'll talk a little bit more about that timing. And we're actually looking at potentially shortening the term of the bond by 1 year. And so that $1.3 million of savings would be kind of spread over the next 7 years. And we can actually kind of accomplish two things. So, pass that $1.3 million of savings on to taxpayers, as well as kind of stabilize the tax rate. So that current rate in 2024, fiscal year 2023-24 is $215 per 100,000. And so we kind of could stabilize that rate for the next couple of years. And then you kind of see as that rate starts to drop off, and we can extend that out longer looking at this graph. So as the prior bonds are getting repaid, the Measure K bonds and really Measure B bonds start dropping off, we see that the tax rates start to drop off out into the future. And then in terms of timing, with the board's direction, we could have legal counsel start to draft the documents as early as December, bring this back for formal board information and action with the legal documents in January. Update the district's credit rating in February. The district currently has an excellent rating, AA3 by Moody's. It's kind of the median rating for California school districts. March, we would finalize the preliminary official statement. That's the offering document that discloses all of the information investors will want to know about the district before they would purchase the bonds. In April, we would have what's called the pricing. That's where the bonds are actually sold and the interest rates are locked at that time. The financing could close in May. That's just kind of the final documentation, memorializing what happened on the pricing in April. And we could let the community know in May kind of the results of that financing. It's kind of ran through all of that information pretty quickly, but happy to answer any questions.
Quick. Trustee Sellers?
Thanks, sir. The bond rates, are they anticipated to adjust by April?
They will change. I can't tell you where they will be in April relative to where they are today. Definitely the news the past couple weeks has been favorable from an interest rate perspective. About 2 weeks ago, it wasn't unexpected, but the Federal Reserve left short-term rates unchanged. Their tone was maybe a little bit softer in terms of future rate increases. That was followed up a couple days later by a jobs report that came in, the economy generated fewer jobs than was expected. Interest rates dropped. Today, inflation numbers came out. Overall inflation was flat month over month. Core inflation was up 0.2%. Market reacted very favorably to that. Stock market was up. Interest rates dropped. In the municipal world, the bonds that the district would issue, rates dropped about 0.1% today. So, rates have definitely been volatile. Right now, it's starting to feel like maybe we've seen the peak of rates, but it'll be very, data dependent what happens with the economy moving forward over the next couple months.
And April is the soonest that we can lock in.
But April is the earliest that we can lock in interest rates. So we're kind of, you can see from the timeline, trying to be prepared so that if April is a good time, we can go ahead and lock those rates in April. If something happens and rates came up and April wasn't favorable, we would just kind of pause or stop the financing and wait until a more favorable environment. And as I mentioned, there wouldn't be any cost to the district.
All right. Thank you.
Trustee Carrillo?
You just mentioned this, and it's in the material, but I just want to make clear. If we provide direction to begin the refinancing, and by the time we're at a position in April to actually lock in any of the rates, if it's not favorable and in the best interest of our community and our district, then we don't incur any cost. There's no
Correct.
downside with not doing anything
Correct.
then. But there is a downside with not taking any action or providing direction now, which is, if it's favorable, we would have lost the opportunity to refinance.
Right, we're trying to be ready. So by moving forward in the beginning of the year, you'd be ready to take advantage in April if it's economical. If it's not, we'll wait for a better time.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Cervantes? Actually, I have a quick question before.
It's information only.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it? No, it's information. It's, yeah.
So, again, I said December, so it should be staff is requesting this placed on January 2024.
Correct.
Bond.
Thank you. Actually, an additional question, Mr. Farrell, can you, by chance, return to the slide labeled 2024 refinancing savings?
Oops. There we go.
Probably the next one. Yep, this is the one. So just so I'm understanding, essentially all the savings would happen because we would finance 1 year early? Is that sort of like a refinancing? We would essentially be finished 1 year early, and basically that's the savings that the community would have?
Well, we can, this was the scenario that I put together, but we could, either keep it this way, and yes, well, the savings are coming, in years 3 through 7, and then in totaling that 1.3 million. So there's actually savings from 2027 to 2031, and then kind of shortening that term a little bit, and kind of moving some of those payments into that fiscal 25 and 26 to kind of stabilize that tax rate.
But we are taking a heavier hit, at least in year
Correct.
2025 and 2020.
Correct.
I wanted to understand that a little bit further. Thank you. Then we'll ask for this to return and to our January agenda. Thank you, Mr. Farrell.
You're welcome.
Next, we move on to information item N3, receive information regarding the 2023-2024 first interim report. Assistant Superintendent Iqbal.
All right, this is a placeholder. Currently, the fiscal staff is working on the first interim report, which is due in Fresno County on December 15th. Staff is requesting to place this item on December 12th for discussion and action.
Thank you. Next, receive information regarding the 2022-2023 Development Impact Fee Annual Report. Assistant Superintendent Iqbal.
Attached is the annual report on development impact fee. This report has to be presented every year. The rationale for collecting the developer fee is when we have builders building houses within our district boundary, there is certain assumption that families will be moving in. As a result, those kids could be attending our school. The developer fee is used to expand classroom that might be needed due to potential increase in enrollment. Staff is asking the item be placed on December 12, 2023 board agenda for action.
Trustee Solis.
Can you please explain any attempts you've made to speak with the developers pertaining to this item?
Well, it's based on the rates, so we can change the rates. What we have to do, we are going
What
to
I'm
this-
trying to avoid is this item coming up for a vote, and then we end up in the room with a bunch of developers saying they didn't know anything about it, they didn't hear about it, that kind of stuff. I believe last time when this came up, we sent them a letter, and they're saying they never received the letter.
I can look into this.
There's two type of developer fees that come forward. This is the standard developer fee that
Right.
is across all entities and all developers know about it. The second one is our right to change rates, which I think is what he's referencing.
Okay.
Prior to you arriving, there were conversations that we needed to have and alert our developers. This one, though,
No, this is standard.
the
This is
standard.
very standard. Yeah, this is the standard rate. So yeah.
All right.
Thank you. This item then will return for action at our December 12th meeting. Next, receive information regarding San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District Zero Emission School Bus Replacement Grant for purchase of 7 school buses. Director Bott.
Mr. Bott is on a conference, so I'll talk on his behalf. So this is a grant from San Joaquin Air Pollution District. We'll be receiving 8 electric buses, and one of the requirements is we have to crush 7 buses to get those 7 electric buses. So 7, sorry, I said 8. My apology. So the total cost is going to be $3.4 million. And so the staff is asking this item be placed in December 12th board agenda for action.
Trustee Malin.
Yeah, kind of a two-part question.
Sure.
We have how many electric vehicles in the district now?
That's a question for Assistant Director Crystal. She can answer that.
Currently, we have 2 electric buses.
And is it my understanding that we really don't use them because of the battery issue?
We've had some issues with the bus having being out of service for a multitude of reasons. One of them we're currently using in the afternoon due to the range. So it does go almost daily on an afternoon route out of the high school. The second bus has been out of service for a couple of months this year. So we're working on getting that one back in service. It currently has to do with the air conditioning system.
Okay. Yeah, my concern, I'm not sold on this. Just because they're free, I don't know if it's going to work necessarily for our district. I mean, what is the difference if we get some diesel versus these electric that are reliable and we know they are?
Unfortunately, diesel is not available anymore. We got the last round on our last grant of Measure C, so those 4 buses will be arriving in April, and that's the last round of diesel. So our options right now is electric for new buses. Even CNG, they're not building them right now. So that's not an option. The only other thing to look at would be propane, but this grant specifically for San Joaquin for AB 617 is for the electric buses.
Okay, yeah, I'm not totally sold on it, and it kind of pertains to number 6 as well. Just because we're getting it for free doesn't mean we should do it.
Can I add one thing real quick? I think these ones have a longer range because the previous one were like 40 miles. This one, even though it reports 120 miles, it goes about 90 miles. So it'll kind of, we can do the, picking and dropping off students. So these are much more efficient and better range buses. These are not the 40 miles, I think the older ones are. These are much.
What's the difference? The batteries?
More efficient batteries.
And there's a warranty on these batteries, I'm assuming, for a few years, or?
We have to look in that, what's the warranty is. I don't have the information.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Sellers, then Trustee Kerfon.
Of the 7 buses that we're looking to replace, do we have an age and approximate mileage of those?
Buses, one of them is a 1993, and the rest are all 1995s. The mileages on the odometer right now are ranging anywhere from 150,000 to 250,000. Some of them have had rebuilt engines over the years, so that may be why they're on the lower end, because the first engine, had the mileage. So the grants right now, those are our oldest buses in our fleet. So.
Do we still use them on a regular basis?
Yes, we do. Yes, those that are in service, we use daily.
Okay. Then my last portion of this question is as far as charging stations, do we have the infrastructure to support that currently?
We currently have the 2 charging stations where we are charging the current electric buses that we have, and we are working with San Joaquin on an infrastructure grant, which once we get approval through that, then we'll be bringing it right back to you guys.
Thank you.
Trustee Kerfon.
Wow, those buses are older than me. I have a question, because you mentioned one of our 2 buses that are out of service. You said was due to their air conditioning unit not working?
One of the electric buses, one of the line electric buses, there's something with the AC unit compressor, which is not allowing the bus to operate properly.
And is that common for our diesel buses to have an air conditioning unit?
Our older fleet does not have it, but since any bus that we've gotten since 2016, we have been getting buses equipped with the air conditioning units, and all of our specialized buses are equipped with the AC units.
So these 7 new electric buses would have an AC unit?
Yes, they would.
Sounds like a much cooler drive for our students. Thank you.
Trustee Solis, then Trustee Miller.
I guess my question is for administration. I want to make sure I understand this. We're talking about 7 electric buses. The initial outlay will be made by the district, purchasing for the full cost of the 7 electric buses. Thereafter, the Air Pollution Control District will reimburse us the total amount for the purchase of the buses. Is there anything in this existing contract that states the day after we accept delivery of the 7 buses, if they were available, we could turn around and order 3 or 4 natural gas buses and use these electric buses as we deem appropriate for the district, correct?
This is a very specific grant, so this only kind of adheres to 7 electric buses.
So the answer to my question is yes? Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yeah, my other concern is if we buy these 7 buses and we're going to demolish 7, and we have an issue with these 7 electric vehicles that they haven't been tried and true yet. We don't know how they're going to work long-term. And these other ones have been working 25, 30 years. Are we going to have, what are we going to do if one of these goes down?
Well, we'll do our best to get the buses back in service as quickly as we can. I mean, we have buses that go out of service, on a daily basis here and there due to some type of maintenance that needs to take place. So I don't know what the problems could be because we don't currently have this make or model in our fleet. But we've heard a lot of positive. The buses have a lot better range. And there's a lot more people that are now working on them. And a lot of the districts have gone to complete electric bus fleets, and their buses are in service. So I haven't heard a lot of issues yet about these buses consistently being out of service. The 2 that we have in our current fleet, we're at the beginning of the era with the electric buses. And so we make advances with technology year after year, and it's only getting better.
Okay.
Trustee Carrillo?
So I'm excited about the 7 electric buses. And I just want to make clear, you guys are making the recommendation that we accept this grant money because you think it's in the best interest of our district to upgrade and crush the 7 non-electric buses, right? And I'm assuming also, but correct me if I'm wrong, that any other fuel options, I don't know what the right word would be, buses are not the most effective options because it'd have to come out of our general funds, right? We'd have to pay out of pocket. There aren't any grants that would support propane or natural gas.
I guess this is where the state is kind of going electric, so that's why they're kind of promoting this. So that's their kind of their strategy.
Thank you.
So that will return, just because, are we okay with consent? I was going to say action if there was opposition. So then we'll put on action because I think then it is to allow any dissent. Number 6, receive information regarding purchase of 5 new electric utility vehicles with grants from the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District.
Okay, this is again another grant from San Joaquin Air District, 5 new electric golf cart. So the golf cart is going to be going to different schools based on age and condition. So the first one is going to go to Roosevelt. The second is going to Polk Elementary. Third is Liddell. Fourth, River Bluff. And the 5th is Steinbeck. That's how we're going to distribute those 5 golf carts. So staff is recommending the item be placed in December 12th board agenda item for action.
Consent?
Anybody?
I'll go with
Trustee-
consent. I do have a little familiarity with this Omnia. I've received the vouchers from the San Joaquin Airport too, and had nothing but problems with these they're not golf carts. These are like gator types.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have about 2 hours of work every single day, and that's it. It's not a bad idea. They're just not great.
All right, then I'll return for consent. We move on to item number 7, receive information regarding renewal of garbage and recycling service with Mid-Valley Disposal.
Okay, this is a renewal contract for Mid-Valley for last 3 years. They haven't increased any cost. This is the first year they're increasing the cost. So staff is recommending that this item be placed in December 12th, put it in the agenda for action.
Trustee Correa?
Since we're exercising under the contract to extend, did you say 3 years? It's another year?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
this is extended.
For a third year?
Yeah.
Did we push back at all in their increase? I mean, I know everything is going up. The one constant change that we can count on is things that are changing and increasing.
I think when we did the contract 3 years back, this was also already stipulated in it, so.
That it would increase by the third year?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, so that.
thank you.
Trustee Cervantes?
Thank you, Board Chair. So at the end of this year, we would go out for an RFP at that point?
Yes.
Okay,
We'll go.
thank you.
No other concerns? We will return this for consent. Thank you. Number 8, receive information regarding maintenance projects at various school sites.
All right, so this is a district-wide flooring replacement plan based on assessment, staff and student safety. The listed sites were selected. So staff is asking this item be placed on December 12th, board on the agenda item for action. Again, this is a deferred maintenance plan we had for flooring.
Questions or comments from the board? Then we will return this under consent. Trustee Cervantes?
Thank you, Board Chair. How did we determine which schools are going to get the funding? And the reason why I'm asking that question is I see several school sites here that are relatively new compared to much of the older sites that we have in our district, and I'm just curious, how did we come to that conclusion?
The director, Muti, and the staff, they went by district and saw, kind of evaluated what was needed the most flooring replacement, and based on their assessment, this is the list they came up with.
And was that Mr. Bott's team?
Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Bhatt's team, yes.
No other comments or questions? We'll return this for on consent. Thank you, Assistant Superintendent Iqbal. Next, we turn to advanced planning. And if there are any additional information or closing comments, Trustee Carrillo.
If there's consensus on the board, I'd like to request an item at our next a regular meeting of the board to discuss the Garza AM, AMB. I don't know why I keep want to call them AM and PM. I know that there was discussion by the board when we first moved from block schedule, but I don't remember the full discussion that was had about the lunch and the impact. And so if we can just get information, an information item, actually, if there's no objection, information action in the event that there are policies or direction that the board wants to provide to analyze that situation and better understand the issues that students have addressed. I know we've all received phone calls and emails, we heard from students, but I don't fully understand. And I'm sure that administration has more information and a different perspective as to why we have the situation we do. So I would appreciate that.
Sorry, I would concur that we should have a discussion on this next meeting.
Thank you.
Just to add, it's a domino effect. the facility committee will impact that probably by next school year, because you're going to lessen the student body at this facility and move them somewhere else. At that time, it would fairly be easy to reconsider A and B lunches. But as of right now, you still have the majority of the student body sitting here.
Well, that'll be a conversation that we could potentially have. Information with regards to if there's no other additional information or closing comments, then with regards to our next meeting, we will be again here at Justin Garza High School at the lecture hall. We will be here for closed session Tuesday, December 12th at 6 p.m. And 7 p.m. for public session. Just as we get ready to adjourn, we want to thank all the community members for joining us tonight, providing your voices, all the staff that have stayed with us. Thank you and have a wonderful Thanksgiving break.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn by Trustee Solis. We have a second by Trustee Kerfan. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Those abstaining. Motion carries 7-0. We adjourn at 9:08 p.m. Thank you.
And thank you guys very much. Thank you. Thanks, Taylor.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having.